Okay guys, it is Thursday evening and I finally decided to get back after it. Took a little time off to let some things heal. So far I have just started removing the rest of this wall. That was the closet, as you can see, for the furnace. I'm going to rebuild the wall starting there, coming over, coming down. And I'm basically just trying to see what's going on to get a look. I've disconnected the power to the furnace, and it's going to sit here for a minute because until I get healed back up, I'm not really going to be moving a whole lot of heavy stuff. But I want to show you guys one of the reasons why I decided to not use the furnace or clean any of the ductwork. Okay. That right there is a nest from Mises, and I don't know what this is down here. It looks like something died and decayed completely. And you can see there's more nests back there, a little one over here. That is the reason I'm not going to use any of the ductwork in this trailer. So I'm in the process of cleaning this out for removal, and removal will be until further notice. I just want to get all that junk out because it's got a little funk to it. And I'm going to clean here in the floor, and I'm going to seal up the crack that I have in the floor, and just sit here and kind of get my head together and figure out what exactly to do next. Okay, this is my water line that's going up into the kitchen, to the kitchen sink. I was told expressively that this water line was broken. Therefore, it's turned off. But I'll be damned if it's hooked up to the kitchen sink. It's just the only water going to the sink. So all winter I've been using buckets in the kitchen. What? It's gonna be so funny if I could have actually had water in the sink the whole time. That's crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on and see what happens. Okay, so something is definitely broken. And I see water where it's sprayed out and leaking down this pipe. So good. Good. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but at least I didn't go all winter where I had water in my faucet, you know. Yeah, so I see it leaking down. So that just goes to show you, that's a really dumb place to put an electric outlet right underneath the faucet that could leak. Duh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this pipe, and I've got 2 Sharkbite fittings, and I'm going to put one Sharkbite on this end and then run a piece of PEX out to the outside. That way I can just have water in the sink. One of the things I wanted to do when the weather got warm. So here we go. Okay, so here's what's going on. I am going to take out this sink and replace that faucet with the one that my buddy got, because I found out one thing. This faucet leaks very bad right here and right here. And which I'm sure over the years is what's caused a lot of these problems. That old PVC, or I think they call it CPVC, it's got a crack all the way from like here going all the way up. So that's no good. None of these water lines I'm keeping, but in order to have water coming out of my faucet, which was one of the things I wanted to do when the weather got nice, is I'm just going to take out this sink and put that other sink in, hook up the drains again, and just run a cold PEX line. I think I might run to the store and get a pre-filter, or get a filter for that water. That way I don't have to keep filling up my jug. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm in the process of taking this apart. If you look up here where the screws are that mount the sink, it's wing nuts. This thing's gonna be super easy to take out. I thought I was going to break out sockets and do all kinds of fighting. So the next thing would be to unhook my drain lines and get rid of all this crap and make a somewhat functional sink. Okay. So that was a lot easier than what I anticipated. was thinking about, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and replace it. The whole piece of this cabinet's going to come off. Because it is rotten. Okay, so now I'm disconnecting the sprayer. So the sprayer hose goes down like such. And then there's a connector halfway down the tube with a connector like that. And you just you push in the two tabs, push this up, and then that tube comes out of this disconnect. And then you can switch the sprayer to the capped off hose. So now I need to pop that cap off, put the hose down the hole, and connect it back. So the sink has turned into a fiasco. I was trying to get the hoses and stuff back here to fit, but the back of the sink's so rotten, it just broke out. And then the sink has these flanges on the side right here that sit down in the sink. So now I'm having to cut a new opening so it sits flush. I mean, I could just leave it and let it sit on top, but that would have drove me batshit crazy, even though it is just a crappy sink job. You know, I just want to have running water going to my sink. So anyway, I got to looking at my drains, and they were all roached out. So I ran to Walmart, got 2 new drains. So I got to install those in the sink. And then I get that done. Hopefully I can do what I intentionally set out to do. So yeah, now I got to cut this out. Okay, well, you know, I really didn't intend for all this mess. I just wanted to hook up a water line, but it turned out to just be a complete effing fiasco. So the whole back part of the sink that was underneath the old sink, that particle board, was rotten. So I had to just break it off. I had to trim the edges on all 3 sides. And then, you know, when I work, I just throw shit everywhere. So, like I said, it's not permanent. It's just to fix the leaky faucet that I had and just go ahead and utilize the sink. Plus, it's a little bit deeper and I can do a little bit more in it. So, let's see if I can get this finished. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm installing the plumber's putty around the surface where the drain, those things are going to go. So, if you have to do it, don't be scared to use too much putty, because it's just going to squeeze out and you can scrape it off and put it back in your tub. It's always better to have more than not enough. So, okay, so here is your drain thingy. So, now you want to take all the washers and all that stuff, the flange and all that stuff off of it, because you're just going to mash it on top of that plumber's putty, just like that. And just push her down. It's going to squeeze out, which is good. That's what you want. Doesn't have to be perfect, because when you start screwing on stuff like this on the bottom, it's going to draw it and squeeze even more out. You're going to have 2 different washers. You're going to have your rubber washer and this cardboard washer. It's also known as like a fiber washer. So you're going to put the rubber washer first, then the fiber washer, and then you're going to use your lock nut, which is this. And then you should be about squared away. Here's something you might not know. If you do change out sinks and your new sink is a little bit deeper and this won't necessarily fit, you can loosen this collar right here and shove this pipe down to give you a little bit more room to get it to fit right underneath your drain. Well, I think I'm done. This right here is not anything. That's the old hotline. You can see where I got the PEX up through the floor. I actually had a Sharkbite valve that I pushed in the end of the PEX, and I had a regular toilet valve. I just screwed the other side of the faucet into it, that way I could shut it off in case water tried to come down this way. So let me go outside and show you what that looks like. Okay, here is the 1/2 inch line coming out of the ground. That's, I think, what they call like CPVC. It's fairly brittle stuff, but I cut it all the way back here, and I've got the 1/2 inch CPVC to Sharkbite or a PEX connector here. They're just push in. So yeah, I think now I need to see if I've got any leaks. Well, of course I do. Now I got a leak back here. Ain't that a bitch? Okay, it's Saturday morning, back at it, and I started my diggy hole. And I got to thinking, well, I had some 5200 marine adhesive that you can use underwater. And I was like, you know what? I could just try to fix that quickly, you know, just so I could maybe use it. But then I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know what? If it's cracked right there, it's probably cracked on down on the ground. So what I decided to do is, since I'm this far, just go ahead and fix it completely. I'm attempting to get far enough down on the ground to see where that connects to. If it connects to a line coming off this, which is my no-freeze faucet, or if it's actually doing something else, because I'll just replace it all with PEX. So I'm not really wanting to do this, but I know it needs to be done, and it's on my list, so I'm going ahead and getting after it. Okay, so here's my situation. I dug out enough to where I could actually read that piece of pipe, and if it said CPVC, that really crappy stuff, I was going to keep going and totally get it out of the ground and then start new from the no freeze faucet. But that is PVC schedule 40, so I decided to go ahead and cut that valve off, clean it, and I've got a 3/4 inch Sharkbite to 3/4 inch connector. I'm going to put on that and then run 3/4 inch to here to the 1/2 inch, and that should fix my problem. Okay, see, this is the kind of stuff that drives me up a wall. Even though I've got a 3/4 inch line, schedule 40 PVC coming out of the ground, so I was going to do a Sharkbite from 3/4, you know, to 1/2 inch. Well, I mean, I know it says to PEX CPVC PERT or copper. I'm trying to put it on PVC, but in my head 3/4 inch should be 3/4 inch regardless, right? Well, that won't go over top 3/4 inch schedule 40 at all. It's not even close. So now I got to make another trip to the hardware store to see if I can get one that's for PVC. So what's happening is the pipe that was in the ground, I thought it was the old crappy PB piping. So I thought the PB piping was called CPVC. So I went to the hardware store thinking the Sharkbite that I bought that was good for CPVC would work, when in turns it was actually schedule 40, which the Sharkbite wasn't for PVC, so it didn't fit. Do you follow me? That's really confusing. I'm so dumb. Okay, so the moral of the story is, if you got to get Sharkbite and you're working on PVC, make sure you get the Sharkbite that says PVC, because CPVC won't work. So here we go. This is my progress from yesterday. You can see I put a ball valve on there, that way I can turn the water off to the whole trailer if I ever have to. And in the ground, it's meeting up with that Sharkbite that's attached to this schedule 40 PVC. And here is a example of that old junky PB piping, and these I'm taking are the Qest fittings. So yeah, this stuff is junk. And so with that said, let's go look at the sink. So now, with the sink finished, that makes me one step closer to having water in the bathroom. So now I need to get another fitting so I can run 70 more foot of 3/4 inch PEX around to the bathroom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a T, block off 2 ends, and reduce that down to 1/2 inch PEX and run that to my toilet. So I will have a completely functional toilet, which will be awesome. That will be done in the next couple days. Then I can give up on my water jugs. They will be sorely missed. Not. And this right here is a 4 foot wide by 120 foot roll of single bubble insulation. And some of you might call this Reflectix, as you know, some people know it as that. But this is a single wall bubble wrap, and if you remember in some of the other videos where I'm showing you how the metal of the trailer was covered in a cardboard with a foil backing, and that foil backing was to reflect heat generated by the metal on hot days or really sunny days, this is what's going to replace that stuff. And this roll here was $90 after tax, for $90.25. And my buddy that I help got this from his roofing guy. And basically, when people make all these sheds where you can go just buy a shed and they deliver it, if you opt for the insulation package, this is what's on the roof and on the walls. So that will be going. That roll right there is enough to do one whole front side of the trailer. So for 90 bucks, can't beat it. And I think that's it for about now, guys. If you look above to your right, there will be a link to the playlist for all the videos that I've been doing on the trailer. So if you would, please check those out. Check out my links below in the description. Come find me on Instagram. And yeah, any of the links below, it will help benefit the channel greatly. So I think that's it. So until the next video, I'll see you guys later.